Welcome to episode 55 of the Southern Conservative Podcast. My name is Ty. There will only be podcasts today and tomorrow this week. Next week, podcasts will resume on Wednesday. Last week was a phenomenal week for President Trump. He got America out of that awful Iran nuclear deal. Trump and Pompeo were able to get 3 American hostages back from North Korea without any concessions. Trump and Kim Jong-un have apparently agreed to meet for talks on June 12th in Singapore, and we continue to get excellent economic numbers, which I'll talk about later on in this podcast. Today is going to be another great day, and will be a day that will go down in history for both the United States and Israel. The United States will be moving the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, in what will be the affirmation from President Trump and the United States that we, the USA, recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Israel was the only country whereby the American embassy was not in that country's capital. And that's because of the dispute between Israel and the Palestinian Authority over the control of Jerusalem. Now, I'm not going to get into the historical basis for the state of Israel. I've discussed that before, and it's something to discuss when I have more time to do so. But you can go all the way back to the Old Testament in the Bible, where Jerusalem and Samaria and Judea are discussed. Jerusalem has been home to the Jewish people for 3,000 years. Samaria and Judea are now the West Bank that is controlled by the Palestinian Authority. There is no historical basis for Palestine. There's no historical reference to people called Palestinians. These people are Arabs. Palestine was originally land that was to be set aside for a Jewish state, not an Islamic state. Already it's been announced that more than a dozen Palestinians have been killed in protests over the movement of this embassy. And that right there should tell you everything you need to know. Previous presidents have failed to declare formally that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and former presidents have failed to move the American embassy to Jerusalem. And instead, we have heard talks, especially under President Obama, about trying to get a two-state solution, having an internationally recognized country of Palestine and having the state of Israel. This is something that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated in the past, that he would not mind a two-state solution, but he also said there's no point in moving forward if the Palestinians want to kill the Jewish people. What is the point in creating a state of Palestine if the Palestinians won't recognize the Jewish state? And these protests over the moving of this embassy shows everything you need to know. If the Palestinians were sincere in their efforts to want a peaceful two-state solution, they wouldn't be protesting today. Part of recognizing another country is to also recognize that country's capital. But the Palestinians can't even do that. This just goes to show you that at least at this point, and probably never, given the long-standing feud between the Jews and the Muslims in this region, that a two-state solution is impossible. And frankly, it's Israel who has ultimately lost over the years, time and time again. You know, the internationally recognized borders of Israel today stem from the armistice lines that were drawn at the end of the Arab-Israeli War in the late 1940s. But these lines were never meant to be permanent political boundaries. In fact, these lines actually put Israel in a defenseless position because the country was rendered much, much smaller than previously established after World War II. In 1967, after the Six-Day War, Israel won back the land it lost. And yet this is not recognized by the international community. Israel should own the West Bank today, and in their point of view, they do. And yet Israel has given up territory in the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the West Bank. And it's Israeli infrastructure and technology that supports the people living in those regions. And the Gaza Strip is home of Hamas, which wants the destruction of Israel. What's amazing is you have Muslims who live within the boundaries of Israel, and they are treated very well by the Israeli government. Muslims living in Israel are living peacefully with their Jewish neighbors. But those living in Palestine, those who are part of the terrorist organizations Hamas and Hezbollah, can't stand the Jewish people or the Jewish state, and they aren't having any of the embassy movement. And it's a shame, really, because it's clear which side wants peace in this region and which side is not willing to be tolerant or peaceful. Netanyahu has made clear he isn't compromising on Jerusalem, and the Jewish people are thanking President Trump for being a true friend and ally of Israel. Trump recognizes the Jewish state and has respect for the Jewish state, and knows that Israel has been given a raw deal time and time again. The bottom line is the Jewish people want peace in the region and are willing to live peacefully side by side with the Palestinians. It's the Palestinians who want no part of Jerusalem to be under control of Israel. And frankly, the leaders of the Palestinian Authority want no part of Israel at all. And that is precisely why a two-state solution will never work. It only serves to give credence to Palestine as a sovereign state, which will not give credence to the sovereignty of Israel. I want to remind everybody to please check out my Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/Southern Conservative. That's facebook.com/Southern Conservative. There you will find links to conservative news articles on stories you may not hear about in the mainstream media. Plus, if you follow the news feed, you'll find links to the daily podcast. Be sure to also subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on the notifications bell so you'll be alerted each time a new podcast has been posted. New podcasts are posted daily, Monday through Thursday. I want to keep this podcast brief today. Tomorrow I will discuss more on the Robert Mueller investigation and the deep state gate, as some are calling this. But I want to wrap up today with some more positive economic numbers. There's a lot of debate out there over whether Donald Trump will be able to have 3% yearly GDP growth for 2018. We saw the first quarter come in low at just 2.3%, and different Federal Reserve branches were predicting more anemic growth for the second quarter and for the rest of 2018. Well, now we're at the halfway point in the second quarter, and the Atlanta Fed is predicting second quarter GDP growth will come in at 4%. The New York Fed predicts 3%. But with either number, Trump is at least getting to that target of at least 3% growth. So we're continuing to see positive economic growth data, and you can thank Trump's tax cuts for some of this, as well as his deregulation policies. I talked last week about how employment data is starting to tighten, and the number of available jobs is matching the number of those who are unemployed. And for the first time since around 2000, the number of job openings will exceed the number of people unemployed. And if businesses are having trouble finding qualified help, that will serve to help drive up wages. One of the things we'll have to watch out for is inflation, and we don't want to see inflation run away too fast, as that will serve to negatively impact the economy as well as the national debt. But the bottom line is we're continuing to see positive economic data, and we're seeing positive data showing an expanding economy. Couple this with a tightening labor market and the number of people receiving welfare and unemployment benefits dropping in large numbers. We have record low unemployment, and you've clearly got a healthy economy on your hands. And it's Trump's leadership that is making all of this possible. And that will do it for today. Be sure to check out tomorrow's podcast. Have a great day, everybody.